Okay, so we're going to find the coordinates of the centroid again. Remember, this centroid is formed by the medians, and these are the steps that we're going to take again. You can find these steps. I go into more detailing with them in the previous video. So if you need a refresher, go check out Chapter 5, Lesson 2, Example 3 for a better understanding of these 4 steps again. So we're going to come over here to this example, right? And I have a triangle here. We're going to find the centroid of this triangle. So the first step again was to graph. The second step that we need to do is we need to find the midpoint of 2 sides. So let's find the midpoint. I'm going to write step 2 up here, and let's find the midpoint of, let's go with AC first. Okay, so I'm going to use x1 plus x2 divided by 2 and y1 plus y2 divided by 2. So I'm going to take my x's, add them up. Let's go 0 plus 12 divided by 2, and then 4 plus 1 divided by 2. This will get me a midpoint of 6, comma, oh boy, 2.5. I'll allow us to use a decimal this time. So let's go ahead and let's graph that point. So 6, going to go over 6, up about 2.5. That's going to be right in this region right here. 6, comma, 2.5. Then, so that was step 2 the first time. And now we're going to go on to step 3 the first time. Okay, so I'm going to connect my point 6, comma 2.5 to the opposite vertex, which in this case is going to be straight up. And we're going to write an equation given those 2 points. Okay, so if we do this and we write our equation, we're going to start with slope between those 2 points. So I'm going to go and rewrite them. 6, comma 2.5 and 6, comma 11.5. Again, when we find slope, we've got y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I've got 11.5 minus 2.5 over 6 minus 6. Alright, so on top, I'm going to have 11.5 minus my 2.5 is going to get us a value of 9 over 0, which is an undefined slope. Again, if I have an undefined slope, that means I have a vertical line. If I have a vertical line, that means my x's in my points should have been the same, which means that the equation of this line is just going to be x equals 6. Because x is always 6. Okay, so there's my first equation. I'll star that one. We're going to go on. We're going to do step 2 again. For the second time, so we're going to find another midpoint. Let's use AB this time. So we're going to use our points for AB. Midpoint of AB, which we had 0, 4 and 6, comma 11.5. So we'll take our x's, add them up. 6 plus 0 divided by 2 and 11.5 plus 4 divided by 2. When I do this, that's going to get me a midpoint of 3, comma, looks to be about 7.75. So we'll graph that point next. 3 comma 7.75. We'll go over 3, up 7.75-ish. Looks to be right around in this region. 7.75. I'm going to connect from my midpoint to the opposite vertex all the way down to C. Now I want to write an equation of that purple line. So I want, now for step 3, for the second time, to use the point 3 comma 7.75 and 12 comma 1. Okay, we're going to start with slope again. I'm going to go 7.75 minus 1 over 3 minus 12. On top, that's going to get me 6.75 over, looks to be a negative 9. And when I simplify that better, if I take my calculator and divide, it should spit out negative 0.75, which when I convert that to a fraction, it will be negative 3/4. And now I notice that between my points, right here, I'm looking to see if one of those is a y-intercept. Neither one is, so I have to go back to using this form again. And I'm going to use the more favorable point of 12 comma 1 this time. So I've got y minus 1 equal to my slope, negative 3/4, x minus 12. Simplify, y minus 1 equals negative 3/4 x, and when I multiply that in, 12 divided by 4 is going to give me 3, times the 3 is going to give me 9. And then I'm going to add my 1 over. So my last step will give me y equals a negative 3/4 x plus 10. I'm going to star that one as well. Okay. Last step, we're going to move on to step 4 now, because I have two equations of lines. I need to use the point y equals negative 3/4 x plus 10 and x equals 6. Well, immediately you should be able to tell me that from my point, I know the x-coordinate is 6 from this equation right there. Which means all you need to do is find the value of y. So you're going to take your 6 and you're going to plug that in to your top equation. Which, when you do that, you'll get negative 3/4 times 6 plus 10, which will get you a value of around 5.5 as your final answer. Again, you can go back up and check, see if that answer makes sense. 6 comma 5.5. 6 comma 5.5. Yeah, it looks pretty close. Is the correct answer.